Earlier today, I typed smashed avocado on toast with 2 poached eggs into my phone. No drop-down menus. No searching a database of 10,000 brands. My own app instantly logged the calories, protein, carbs, and fat. Later, I opened my fridge, looked at a random container of spinach, leftover rice, and chicken, and asked the app what to make for dinner. It gave me 3 exact ideas that fit the calories I had left for the day. And when I wanted to know if my new high-protein diet was actually making a difference, instead of an essay, it showed me this. 2 simple lines on one chart. Answer found in 2 seconds. Here's what made this feel like magic. No app store. No creating another account with a stranger's company. No cloud hosting fees, and 0 new AI bills. This app was built by Claude. It lives right on my laptop, talks to my phone over my home Wi-Fi, and runs entirely on the single Claude subscription I was already paying for anyway. If you've never coded a line in your life, don't worry. Today we start from total ground zero. Every button, every click, we do it together. Here's our roadmap. First, what just changed, and why any of this is suddenly possible. Then, why build an app at all when you could just ask Claude? We grab the tools, set up the workshop, and then it's construction day. Stop 6 is the builder's door. 7, we make it yours. And 8, we get it onto your phone. Let's get going. Before we build anything, I want 90 seconds on why this is even possible now. Because if you've been using AI for a year, you might think you already know what it does. This is a different thing. Here's the AI you know. You ask, it answers. It writes you an email, explains a concept, drafts a plan. Brilliant, and completely hands-off. Everything it produces arrives as text in a box, and then you go and do something with it. Claude Code is the same Claude with hands. It works on your actual computer. It creates real files in a real folder. It installs what it needs. It starts programs, tests them, reads the errors it gets back, and fixes them. Nobody hands you instructions to follow. You describe what you want in plain English, and software appears on your machine. Think about what that used to cost. Wanting a small custom app meant one of 3 things. Learn to code, which is months, hire a developer, which is thousands and a waiting list, or give up and rent whatever the App Store had, forever. That was the whole menu. There was no option where a person with an idea and no technical training ends the afternoon holding working software. That option now exists, and it is roughly $20. So the honest way to test that claim is to build something with an actual job. Something you'd open tomorrow morning, and the morning after, long past the novelty. That's why we're building a diet tracker. It's a genuinely useful thing. It has to understand food described in ordinary words, store months of history, draw honest graphs, work on your phone at the kitchen counter, and answer, what should I cook tonight? Any one of those would have been a real project. We're doing all of them in an afternoon, and by the end you'll have the recipe to point at whatever you want instead. One promise about how we do it. Nothing on screen goes unexplained. Every button gets a plain English reason before we press it. Let's start with the question you're probably asking right now. Look, I already use Claude. I can just open a chat, tell it what I ate, and ask questions. Why bother making an app? Fair question. And honestly, a long chat thread will remember your meals. But try asking a chat thread 3 weeks in. Hey, is this high-protein experiment actually helping me lose weight? What happens? You get paragraphs. Polite, thoughtful, long paragraphs. Now you're reading through text, holding numbers in your head, trying to do mental math on a Tuesday night. Ask a dashboard that exact same question, and the answer is already drawn for you. Your protein line goes up, your weight line goes down, and your eyes get the answer in 2 seconds flat. That's the core rule of this whole video. And this matters most for diet tracking, because typical diet apps fail us in 3 big ways. 1. Fit. Commercial apps are made for millions of people, so they're bloated. Your app understands your exact shorthand, like half a chicken parma from the corner pub, without making you search a drop-down of 500 choices. 2. Privacy. Your food history isn't sitting on someone else's server waiting to be analyzed or monetized. It's one simple file on your computer inside your house. 3. Cost. Most tracker apps want $10 to $15 a month, forever. Ours runs on the AI subscription you might already have. Quick reality check before we start building. What's the one thing a standard chat thread can never do as well as an app? It shows you visually. Let's go get our tools. Let's be completely upfront about cost, so there are zero surprises. Claude has a fantastic free tier for regular chatting. But the tool we're using today to build apps, Claude, is part of the paid plans. That's $20 a month for Pro. So the real question is building your own custom apps, this diet tracker plus whatever you want to build next, worth $20 a month to you? Keep that in mind, and let's evaluate at the end. Setting up takes 5 tiny steps. A quick note on Move 2. If Windows gives you a little, "Are you sure you want to install this?" Warning, don't panic. That's just Windows being cautious with newer desktop software. Click through. And on Move 4, right at the top of the app, you'll see 2 tabs, Chat and Code. Chat is for talking. Code is our workshop. One reassurance to keep for the whole video. Anthropic updates these screens often, so if yours looks a little different from mine, nothing is wrong. Click Code, and we're in. Now Move 5, and this is the one people trip over, so let's do it slowly together. Later in this video, our app is going to ask Claude questions all by itself. To let it do that, Claude needs a second door. The same Claude, same subscription, just reachable from a plain typing window instead of from the app. The desktop app on its own doesn't open that door. Press Start, type PowerShell, and hit Enter. That black window is just a place to type instructions. Paste this one line and press Enter. Give it a minute. Then type the word Claude and press Enter, and a little Claude welcome screen appears right there in the window. First, it asks how you want it to look, dark mode or light mode, whichever you prefer. Use the arrow keys to move down to the one you want and press Enter. Then it asks how you want to sign in, and it gives you 3 choices. The first one is the one you want, your Claude account, the same subscription you have been using all along. The other 2 mention a developer console and an API key. Skip both. Those are a different product with their own separate bill, and they are not what we are doing. So leave it on the first option and press Enter. It prints a link. Click the link, your browser opens, you allow access, and you come back to find yourself signed in. That is it. You only ever do this once. Now that we're in the Code tab, we have 3 quick decisions to make. Think of this like setting up a workbench before starting a DIY project. 1. Pick the brain, the model. Somewhere on your screen, you'll see a model selector. Think of these as different modes of Claude's brain. Haiku, super fast, light work. Opus, the heavy lifter for genuinely complex logic. Sonnet, the sweet spot, perfect for everyday building. On the Pro plan, Sonnet is already the default, so most of you touch nothing. Mine is showing Opus because I'm on a higher plan, so watch me switch it. Click Sonnet, and the corner now reads Sonnet 5. That is the only model choice in this entire video. 2. Pick the room, the folder. This part is super important. Claude Code doesn't just wander around your computer touching your personal files. You give it one specific folder, and that folder becomes its entire world. So go to your Documents folder, right-click, hit New Folder, and name it My Diet Tracker. Back in the Claude app, select that empty folder. Now Claude has its own clean workspace, and your personal documents stay completely isolated and safe. 3. Set the rules, permissions. By default, Claude asks your permission before every single action, editing a line, creating a file, running a check. That's safe, but if you're building an app, you'd end up clicking Yes, I approve 50 times in 10 minutes. So we switch the setting to Auto. Now Claude handles routine permissions smoothly on its own. Because we set this up inside a brand new, empty folder, Auto mode is the right call here, and only in fresh folders like this one. Never pointed at a folder holding your real files. How much actual coding do you have to do today? 0. What you do instead is write a brief, and I'm not going to paste a wall of text at you and pretend that's teaching. Let's read it together first, because once you can see the shape of a good brief, you can write one for anything you ever want to build. Think of it as briefing a builder you've just hired, and it has 6 parts. Part 1, who you're talking to. I tell it I'm a beginner, that it should explain each step in one plain sentence, and that it must never ask me to edit code myself. 1 line, and it changes everything downstream. Every reply it gives me for the rest of the build stays in English. Part 2, the rules it must never break. Everything stays inside this folder. No cloud services, no accounts, no API keys anywhere. Check what's already on my computer before installing anything. And if something's genuinely missing, tell me plainly and wait for me. All my data in one readable file. This is the fence around the whole project, and setting the fence first is what stops it wandering off and signing you up for things. Part 3, what to build, screen by screen. Dashboard, add meal, trends, history, settings. Notice the detail I bothered with. Not, make a nice dashboard, but which numbers appear, that the compare view needs 2 drop-downs, that weight is optional and 1 number. Vague in, generic out. Part 4, the data you can see it working with. I ask for 30 days of clearly labeled sample data, so the graphs have something to show on day 1, plus a Start Fresh button that wipes it permanently. That last word does real work, and I'll show you why later. Part 5, how it should look and feel. Calm, big touch targets, readable on a phone in one hand, no gamification, no streak shaming. Taste is part of a brief. If you skip this, you get somebody's default. Part 6, how it hands over. Make it reachable on my home Wi-Fi, print the address for my phone, and give me a 3-line tour when it's done. Otherwise, you get a finished thing and no idea how to open it. Who you are, the rules, the what, the data, the look, the handover. That's the shape. And if you just read all that thinking, I would never have written this. Good news, because neither did I on the first go. Here's the shortcut nobody tells beginners. You can ask Claude to write your prompt for you. Open the ordinary chat. Describe what you want in whatever messy words you've got. Something like, I want an app that tracks what I eat, works on my phone, and keeps my data on my own computer, and then say, turn that into a detailed brief for Claude Code. Ask me any questions you need first, and make sure it covers the rules, the screens, the look, and how it hands over. It'll interview you, and what comes back is the kind of brief we just read. So being good at prompts was never the entry fee. Being clear about what you want is, and Claude will happily do the tidying. Now paste it in, hit enter, and go make tea. It took 13 minutes on my computer to turn that plain English request into a complete, working app. Quick tip, and it's the one I reach for most. If Claude gets stuck on the same problem twice, stop rewording your request. Go back to the model picker, switch to Opus, and ask it to work out why it is failing instead of asking it to try again. Different question, different result. Once it finishes, it launches the app and hands you the keys. When you open it up, you'll see 30 days of sample data, clearly labeled, so you can see how the charts look. Hit Start Fresh whenever you're ready to clear it out. But look at this trend screen before we clear it. Let's compare protein intake against body weight. Look at those 2 lines side by side. That's 3 weeks of wondering, is this working? Answered in a single snapshot. Remember what I said at the start? A chat remembers, a dashboard shows. This is what I meant. Nobody had to read anything. Now for the clever part, and this is the piece I'd most like you to walk away understanding, because it's new enough that almost nobody explains it. Our app needs to ask an AI a question every time you log a meal. How many calories and macros in this? Normally that means signing up with an AI company as a developer, getting something called an API key, putting a credit card down, and paying a fraction of a cent per question. The money is small. The weight is in the extras, another account, another key to guard, another bill to watch. We're going to skip all of it, because Claude is already on this computer. And I mean that literally. Remember the black window back in stop 3? where we typed Claude and signed in with your subscription? That is the thing we are about to use. That setup was not busy work. This is the moment it pays off. Here's the thing that makes it work, and it has a name: headless mode. Let me translate that. The way you've used Claude Code so far is a conversation. You type, it replies, you reply back, and it all happens on screen with a human watching. Headless mode is the same Claude Code with the conversation stripped out. One question in, one answer out. No window, nobody watching. You run it by typing Claude, then -p, then your question in quotes. And that tiny difference is the whole unlock, because a conversation is something only a person can have. One question in, one answer out is something a program can do. So your app can use Claude by itself, all day, without you sitting there. So when you log a meal, your app quietly runs that command, asks its question, gets the answer back as tidy data, and files it away. It signs in as you, on the subscription you're already paying for. 0 new accounts, 0 extra charges, nothing to guard. And once you've seen that, you can't unsee it. Anything you can ask Claude, your own software can now ask on your behalf, on a loop, while you sleep. Today it's calories. So here's the second brief, and it's shorter because we're adding one ability rather than building a whole app. Same treatment. Let's see what's in it before it goes in. The job, in one sentence. Give the tracker a real brain using Claude itself, with no API key, writing my existing login. That sentence alone is the whole idea. Everything after it is me closing loopholes. The output contract. I ask for the answer as strict structured data, with the exact fields listed: meal name, calories, protein, carbs, fat, fiber, a confidence, a one-line note. And I say never parse loose text. Why that matters? A paragraph is lovely for a human and useless to an app. Naming the fields is what turns Claude's answer into something your app can file without guessing. The photo path. Save the uploaded picture into this folder and include its file path in the question, so Claude opens the image and looks at it. The Windows small print. Run Claude in a clean mode that ignores my personal settings files. Call the real program rather than the shortcut. Read the output as UTF-8. 3 fiddly lines that I'd never have known to ask for. Except each one cost me an hour the first time I built this. That's what a kit is for. The failure plan. And this is the part most people forget. If the call fails or takes longer than 30 seconds, fall back to a built-in estimate. Label it clearly on screen and let me retry. You're telling it in advance how to fail in a way you can see. An app that fails visibly is worth 10 that fail quietly. Apps pretend to. Watch the text box, completely empty. All the app is getting is this picture of my poke bowl. Analyze. And there it is. The dish named, the calories and macros filled in, all from the picture alone. Claude opened the photo and looked at it. Portions are the camera's weak spot, so treat photo numbers as the rougher estimate. When it matters, type it. And because we asked for it in plain English, the app is honest about which brain answered. When Claude answers, the card says so. Watch what happens if I close that door. Same app, same button, and it still works. It just tells you it fell back to its own rough guess, so you can fix the number or try again. An app that admits when it's guessing is worth more than one that always sounds certain. 2 quick practical details to remember. 1. Your computer needs to be awake on your home network for the brain to answer, because the brain lives on your computer. 2. Your diet log itself stays strictly on your machine as a single local file. It never leaves your home. So, the one thing to remember from this whole stop: where does your app's brain live, and what does it cost? In your house, on the subscription you already pay. 0 new bills. Standard diet apps tell you what you ate. A great app helps you decide what to eat next. Commercial apps try to do this with huge, generic recipe databases. But your app can do something way smarter, because it knows 2 things no website knows. Exactly how many calories and macros you have left today, and exactly what ingredients are sitting in your fridge right now. Third brief, last one, and it's the most interesting of the 3, because 2 of its lines exist purely because the obvious version failed. 2 modes. By my numbers. Look at what I've logged today against my targets. Work out what's left. Suggest 3 meals that fit. By my fridge. I type or photograph what I actually have. It suggests 3 things I can cook and names any extras I'd need. Respect my settings. Vegetarian, allergies, dislikes, all already in the app. Written once here, honored in every suggestion forever. Close the loop. Every suggestion gets a cook this, log it button that saves it straight into today's meals with its numbers. Without this line, you get a nice list you then have to type back in by hand, and the feature quietly dies. Now the strange one. I tell it to generate each of the 3 ideas as its own separate request, rather than asking for 3 in one go. That looks like a fussy detail. It's the difference between the feature working and not working. Ask for 3 meals at once, and Claude writes you a lovely recipe article, ignoring the format the app needs. Ask it to name and estimate one dish 3 times over, and you get clean data every time. I found that after roughly 15 failed attempts, so you get it for free. And the speed line. Aim the suggestions at the calories I have left, and let the other macros fall where they fall. Adding a protein target as well turns it into a puzzle it has to solve, and it runs about 4 times slower for no real gain. Plus the honesty line, which I'd want in there even if nobody asked. Say on screen that these are estimates to help me choose, not health advice. 2 of those lines are scar tissue, and that's worth saying out loud. This prompt is better than the one I wrote first, because the first one failed and I measured why. Yours will go the same way, and that's the job, not a sign you're bad at it. Let's test it. I'll type in what I actually have: spinach, chicken thigh fillets, basil, garlic, penne pasta, and rice. It thinks for about half a minute here, which is the app quietly asking Claude 3 separate questions at once, 1 per idea. Look at that. 3 dinners built out of what is actually in my kitchen, each one with its calories and its full macros so I can judge it myself, and a line underneath telling me the extras I'd need to buy. Right next to each one, a cook this, log it button. 1 tap, dinner is decided, and today's log is updated. And typing the list is only one way in. If you'd rather not type at all, open the fridge and photograph it. Same button, same 3 ideas, except this time it worked out what I had by looking. On an evening when you cannot be bothered to type a list, that is the difference between using this and ordering in. 1 honest line, and it's printed in the app too. These are estimates to help you choose, not health advice. The app counts, you decide, and if you have a plan from a professional, that plan wins. Think about what just happened. You wanted a feature that doesn't exist in standard App Store trackers, and you got it by describing it in a single paragraph. That is the real power of building your own tools. Now, an app on your computer is great, but you don't eat dinner at your desk. You need this on your phone at the kitchen counter. Because your phone and your computer are on the same home Wi-Fi, your phone can open the app directly. Ask Claude Code, what address should I open on my phone? It gives you a simple local web address, usually a set of numbers like 192.168.1.15:3000. Type that into Safari or Chrome on your phone, hit Add to Home Screen, and there it is, looking and acting just like a regular mobile app. One thing that might pop up the very first time, Windows may ask whether to allow the app through the firewall. Tick the private network box and click Allow. It's asking whether your own home network is allowed to reach your own app, and the answer is yes. If you accidentally click Cancel, your phone just sees a blank page, so that's the culprit to check first. The rules of local hosting, stated straight, it works instantly anywhere inside your home Wi-Fi. If you're out at a restaurant, jot a quick note and log it when you get home, or keep your computer awake at home. One more thing you'll need on day 2. Inside the folder Claude made, there is a small startup file, the one ending in .bat. Double-click it and your app starts. Close it and your app stops. That file is the on switch, and nothing runs without it. If remembering where it lives sounds like a hassle, right-click it and pin it to start. Then it's one click from the Start menu, same as any other app on your computer. Bonus tip, instant automatic backups. Since your entire app lives inside one folder, move that folder into your Google Drive, OneDrive, or Dropbox folder. Now every meal you log is backed up automatically. And if your laptop ever dies, your whole diary is still there. One honesty note with it. The backup does not put the app on your phone when you're away from home. The phone opens a page your laptop serves. No laptop awake, no page. Let's review the math. Commercial apps charge $10 to $20 a month just for food tracking. With this setup, you pay zero hosting fees, zero app store charges, and zero API costs. The single $20 Claude subscription powers your everyday AI chat, builds your software, and acts as the engine for your app. And here is the ultimate takeaway, and it's bigger than a diet tracker. This exact same recipe, empty folder plus plain English prompt plus Claude code plus home Wi-Fi, works for anything you want to organize: a custom workout and gym logger, a household expense tracker, a habit tracker for your kids, a simple medication reminder for your family. You don't need to scroll through App Store subscriptions anymore. If you can describe what you need in plain English, you can build it in an afternoon. Grab the free starter kit with all the prompts in the description below. Try building yours this weekend, and drop a comment telling me what app you built first. And one genuine offer before you go. If you want something like this for your own situation and you get stuck, or you have an idea that is a bit bigger than a diet tracker, email me. The address is in the description. Tell me what you are trying to build, and I will point you in the right direction. I would rather you end up with the thing you actually need than give up halfway.